You're on.
Hi, everyone.
You're on! Okay, let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our video on our must-grow seeds for 2021. If you watched our last video, we talked about how we are trying to organize our seeds and be more mindful about what we're doing with them and what we're going to grow. So I recommended that you stick to seeds that have worked for you in the past, but also that you add in a few things that you're really excited about. So these are our must-grow seeds. So our first category of seeds are flowers. Flowers are really important for us because of the pollinators that they bring. Now we already have some artichoke, but this, I'm going to try to grow some more artichoke plants. I don't think they last forever, so I'd like to have a few more in the pile. So I'm really excited about trying this artichoke this year. And last year we started some calendula, I'm not really sure how to say that. So we've got some of those, and the other flower that I really like is the alyssum. I think I'm the only one, but it is a really good ground cover mulch flower, which I really appreciate it because it kind of keeps the weeds down. So I've got white and purple. Now I planted enough this year, there should be some flowers that come up next year just because it would have reseeded itself. That's my hope, fingers crossed. In that last video that we did and where we were asking about people's advice for seeds, one of the suggestions was, of course, make sure that you're saving your seeds, but another really handy tip is just plant something that's going to spread its seeds all over your garden. And if you don't mind, alyssum is really easy to pull up if it's in a place that you don't want it. So, and it doesn't hurt other plants, so you can plant it all around your, all kinds of vegetables. So we had it around the beans and stuff like that. So this is a great flower. These are the flowers that I'm really excited about growing this year. But before we move on from the flower section, for, I think it was my birthday, Clive bought me this hanging flower basket mix that comes from Butchart Gardens. I'm very excited to see if I can't grow a lot of these flowers and then make our own hanging basket mixes. And the other thing that we don't have these yet, I've ordered these because we don't seem to have any wildflower seeds. So I've ordered some seeds for the wildflower bed. I think what we'll do is probably throw them out there this winter so that they can go through that freeze-thaw cycle and do a better job of germinating maybe earlier in the spring. This year we waited a long time, and we do have a whole bed designated to wildflowers, so it seems like a thing that we should be concentrating on. Okay, second category of things that I think are must-grows are any of your leafy vegetables. If it's summertime, you want salads. So we have lots of different kinds of lettuces. We do have some that you might categorize as lettuce, but I think pak choi does better in the fall. So we have a really good mix. Another thing we talked about in that video was planning for succession planting. So I've got some lettuce seeds that will do really well when it's cold, the Amish deer tongue. I've got one that's called Winter Density. Those will be really good in the cold, so in this probably early spring we'll get out there. And then pak choi, we're growing pak choi right now. We just had some for dinner on Friday. And they seem to be doing much better in the fall. So yes, it looks like I have lots of kind of lettucey stuff, but the kale's mixed up in here. We'll grow some kale too in the spring and the winter, and there's cabbage in here too. So the idea that you want to have that nice spread across the whole year so that you can grow right from the beginning of early spring up and then into winter is what we're going for with all these seeds. Our third category of seeds that we think you should grow are herbs. And the most obvious one is basil. But I have one exciting basil that I'm going to grow this year. Normally we grow I think it's the Emily basil or Genoa, something Italian. These are lettuce basils, so the leaves on them are huge. You can use them as wraps or whatever, but apparently they still taste really good. I cannot find the Thai basil, so I'd love to grow some Thai basil. And then otherwise it's just your regular herbs, but the basil's the thing. Basil in 2021 did not work for us. So I am really looking forward to trying to make our basil be a little bit more successful this year. Okay. The fourth category are peas and beans. Now, they are pretty different. Peas need to go in when it's cool. Beans like it when it's warm. But Jason wanted me to put them together because they both fix nitrogen, and when they're done, you're done with your harvest, you just snip them off at the bottom and leave the roots in the ground. They're nitrogen fixers. No, we don't exactly know what that means, but we understand that it's good. So we leave the roots in the ground. In terms of what I'm excited about, really, they were all really good last year, the peas and the beans. I think what I'm most excited about this year is we actually have compost that's going to allow our vegetables to grow properly. So I think we're going to be a lot more successful with our beans and our peas. Beans? Peas? What'd I say?
Mm-hmm.
But we still have the long purple beans. We did try to save some of those seeds. Again, one of those suggestions that we got. So we'll see. We might try a couple of the seeds that we saved and just see what happens. Okay, fifth category of must-grow items in our garden is cucumbers. Now, last year, cucumbers did not happen for us. We didn't grow one single cucumber. We did grow fuzzy Chinese gourds by accident because they're called fuzzy cucumbers, but they're not cucumbers. So to try to improve our success this year, I have 3 kinds of cucumbers. 2 of them are smaller. One is white, and then the other one's called a muncher, and then these are the Armenian longs. So again, hopefully part of that was a composting situation in the soil that we were growing in, but we got no cucumbers last year, and my goal this year is to have at least 1 cucumber. I believe we had cucumbers the year before, so it's not like we can't grow them.
Should have saved the seeds.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because we had that huge one we just threw out.
I know.
Well, I went into the compost though. Oh, your face is gone. There it is. Beautiful. 3, 2, 1, go.
So our 6th category are onions. Now, is this a must grow? No. This is one of those things that so far we've only managed to grow scallions because you can harvest them early. We are trying to grow walla wallas over the winter. We'll see how that goes. So Jason thinks we should move to onion sets rather than growing them from seed. So I think what we'll just do is try to use up the seeds that we have. If we are successful, then maybe we'll just carry on with seeds. I mean, Charles Dowding grows his onions from seeds, so why can't I? The next category of must-haves, I think, are your squash. Summer squash, winter squash. What's the difference? Well, the summer squash is stuff like zucchini and the patty pans. They don't store well, thus they are summer squash. You eat them fresh. But we have one really interesting squash, and I talked about it in the last video. These are the baby butternut squash vines. I'm going to try to grow these right on the trellis this year and see if I can get a bunch of honey nut squash. What is the appeal of having a bunch of winter squash? Well, you get to eat them all winter. So if we decide that we do in fact like squash, then we'll be able to eat them all winter, and we can harvest them and save them for the winter so we can be eating stuff from the garden. I did manage to find 1 packet of delicata and regular butternut squash. It's an early butternut, so I don't know if I'll be able to tell the differences between the seeds when I open the packet, but really what we're after is a delicata squash. If you can get your hands on some delicata squash seeds, apparently they're so nice that you can eat the rind on the outside. Like, that's what I'm told, which seems like a great feature of not having to peel. But again, looking for those winter squash that we can store and have garden items in the winter.